Good to be with you. I'm Tony DeCopel. The breaking news right now. The next winter storm threatening the East Coast, a potential bomb cyclone. Blizzard conditions possible. Just days after the last round, the new watches and warnings from Atlanta to Boston, and Rob Marciano timing it out.
We have a job to do.
And the breaking news out of Minnesota tonight, the White House signaling a major change in its immigration crackdown. New tone, new tactics. What borders are, Tom Homan is now saying. Also developing tonight, the surprising new research on exercise and your health. You may need much less than you think. But a good long walk never hurts. That's what a group of monks and their dog are on, with millions now following along. Their message to America tonight.
From CBS News headquarters in New York, this is the CBS Evening News with Tony DeCopel.
And it's great to be with you tonight. We begin with another day of frigid temperatures for much of the U.S., worsening conditions in places that are already struggling to deal with the last winter storm, a storm now linked to the deaths of at least 65 people and leaving 200,000 others in the dark and the cold tonight. Crews still working to restore power in some states, among them Mississippi and Tennessee, where hundreds of National Guard troops have now been mobilized to help. Rob Marciano is following all of it from New York, where the city is dealing with massive piles of snow, which it is now trying to melt, apparently. Rob, good evening.
Good evening, Tony. Oh, yeah, they're melting it. They're using these giant hot tubs, and they've already melted 25 million pounds of it here in New York City. I mean, with these temperatures, Mother Nature's not helped melting it. And in these dense cities, you can plow all you want, but at some point, there's no way to put it. It's a battle around towering mounds of snow. In Boston, simply crossing the street is no longer simple.
Oh, we backtrack. If there is not enough room, we backtrack and we find another route.
A week of sub-freezing temperatures across the east have left snow clinging to sidewalks and roads, leaving cars spinning and sliding. From road crews to residents, just about everyone is cleaning, clearing, and coping with the snow. But in New York City, still buried under a crippling maze of hard-packed snow, the sanitation department is using 10 snow jacuzzis to melt it for the first time in nearly 5 years.
2 weeks straight of sub-freezing temperatures, that means that snow is not going anywhere.
They can melt up to 240,000 pounds of snow an hour. You've got the fire hydrant here, we've got water going in there that heats up, that's the sauna.
Exactly. Every time one of these front-end loaders comes over, it's about 1,000 pounds of snow that it's dumping in, mixes with just regular room temperature tap water, and melts it at 38 degrees, puts it down into an approved sewer line where it can go through the water treatment system.
Parts of the South still in full recovery mode. Crews there racing to restore power in Oxford, Mississippi, while FEMA delivered generators throughout the state. Our own Katie Weiss is in Ripley.
It's been tough. I mean, no water has been tough. But we've helped people. We've been working on roads. We've been opening roads and just trying to do what we can do.
All that clearing in time for potentially more snow this weekend. This next storm is definitely different, but it's bringing even more cold, so they're going to have these melters going 24/7, likely for the next week. All right, let's talk about that next system and the cold, which is going to be widespread. We've got all these cold weather alerts and cold weather warnings all the way down to Florida, 20, 30, in some cases 40 degrees below average. Miami, you'll see the coldest air you've seen since 2010 come Sunday. But the winter storm warnings are already up for eastern Tennessee and parts of Virginia and the Carolinas. That will be expanded during the day tomorrow. Wind gusts up to 50, 65 miles per hour. Strong upper level energy is going to kind of trigger a coastal low. Good old-fashioned nor'easter, and that radar will fill in during the day tomorrow. Blizzard conditions potentially along the Outer Banks, and then missing New York and much of the big cities, including Boston. But it looks like eastern Mass will get clipped with this as well. As far as how much snow we expect to see, 6 to 12 inches in spots across North Carolina and Virginia. That's certainly possible. Maybe more in some spots, and 2 to 6 potentially across parts of eastern Massachusetts. But regardless of how much snow you get, the cold is going to be with us. It will be brutally cold, relatively speaking, right through the weekend, and in some cases right through next week. spring, Tony, certainly feels a long way off.
It sure does, Rob. Thank you very much. To Minnesota again tonight, where President Trump's promise of mass deportations had turned into weeks of roving patrols sweeping in criminal migrants, but also a much wider group. Well, tonight, Border Czar Tom Homan says ICE is returning its focus to the worst offenders. Here's Lily Luciano.
After weeks of violent clashes between federal agents and protesters across the Twin Cities and the fatal shootings of 2 U.S. citizens, President Trump has sent in his border czar.
I'm staying till the problem's gone.
Today, at a press conference in Minneapolis, Tom Homan delivered a new directive with a change in tone.
ICE and CBP officers are performing their duties in a challenging environment, but they're trying to do it with professionalism. If they don't, they'll be dealt with.
Homan also announced plans to draw down the roughly 3,000 agents currently on the streets if local officials cooperate with immigration enforcement by allowing access to jails. In D.C. today, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey.
If the goal was to find an antidote to chaos, there would be a very straightforward answer, which is to end Operation Metro Surge.
The federal government said that they were withdrawing and things are going to change. We've seen no change.
Hennepin County Attorney Mary Moriarty oversees state prosecutions in Minneapolis and is investigating the deaths of Renee Good and Alex Preddy.
How would you categorize what the government is doing here?
It is unprecedented.
On the investigations, she said the state is deciding whether to file criminal charges.
There is absolutely no absolute immunity on the part of federal agents. It doesn't matter where they work for the federal government or not.
During Operation Metro Surge, there have been multiple citizens and legal immigrants swept up. Gustavo Navos, who is in the U.S. legally, was detained for 24 hours and almost sent to Texas before his attorney intervened.
Why did they say that they stopped you?
Porque me vieron que era hispano.
Because you looked Hispanic.
Yep.
A judge here in Minnesota accused ICE of violating nearly 100 orders, and that is this month alone here in the state. Another federal judge ordered that people who have refugee status and have been detained must be released, and those who have been sent out of state for detention have to return home. Tony.
Lilia, thank you very much. To Washington, D.C. now, President Trump opened the first cabinet meeting of 2026 by commenting about how boring the last one was, a reference to this photo from last month. Today, eyes very much open. He covered a lot of ground as the government heads toward a possible shutdown. Let's get details now from senior White House correspondent Ed O'Keefe. Ed?
Tony, good to see you. The president's been locked in direct talks with Democrats about avoiding a partial shutdown beginning Friday night, and there is a deal coming together. In exchange for their votes, and in the wake of the chaos in Minneapolis, Democrats are demanding changes in how ICE and the Border Patrol do their jobs. President Trump's cabinet meeting today included updates from the heads of several departments, but he never mentioned or called on his Homeland Security Secretary, Kristi Noem.
We've had an amazing year.
Facing bipartisan calls for her ouster, Noem sat silently, the most public sign yet of the damage her comments about Alex Preddy's death have done to her standing in the administration. Another sign came down the street at the Capitol.
The yeas are 45, the nays are 55.
Where a bill to keep the government open was blocked by Democrats who are demanding changes to how ICE operates.
This is a moment of truth for the United States of America. What the nation witnessed on Saturday in the streets of Minneapolis was a moral abomination. What ICE is doing outside the law is state-sanctioned thuggery, and it must stop.
Democrats want federal agents to take off their masks, put on body cameras, and operate by the same standards as state and local police.
We'll work in a very bipartisan way, I believe, not to have a shutdown. We don't want a shutdown.
The president isn't resisting those demands, and Republicans on Capitol Hill acknowledge ICE agents need to show more restraint.
I'm willing to entertain some reforms to make sure that we rein in ICE appropriately and make it more professional.
One other note from today's cabinet meeting, the president says he plans to name his choice to serve as the next chairman of the Federal Reserve next week to succeed Jerome Powell, who he's clashed with over how to fight inflation. Lots of intrigue, Tony, around who he picks and their ultimate independence from him.
Could be very interesting. Ed, thank you very much. Now to Fulton County, Georgia, which includes most of Atlanta and was a focus of President Trump's efforts to overturn the results of the 2020 election. It's back in the news tonight as FBI agents have seized boxes of ballots there along with other documents. Skylar Henry has new information on what exactly they're looking for.
Fulton County officials were defiant today, one day after FBI agents raided the county's election hub, hauling away 700 boxes that contained ballots from the 2020 election, along with private voter data.
Once they left that facility last night in those FBI trucks, I don't know where they are now. I don't know who has them. I don't know what they're doing with them.
A spokesperson for the FBI in Georgia would not provide details about the search, but a search warrant cited possible violations of federal laws protecting election records and against procuring fraudulent votes. The raid escalates the administration's efforts to investigate Georgia's 2020 election, which President Trump narrowly lost to Joe Biden. At that time, Trump claimed it was due to fraud and tried to pressure Georgia's Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger to, quote, find the votes to win the state.
I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have.
Since returning to the office, Mr. Trump has continued his attacks.
It was a rigged election. Everybody now knows that. They found out. People will soon be prosecuted for what they did.
Former Republican Lieutenant Governor Jeff Duncan, now a Democrat, says Mr. Trump just can't accept his loss.
There's not a single ounce of proof that anything was rigged. We ran a safe, legal election here, and we'll do it again and again and again if he doesn't get in our way.
Also present during the raid, the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, who is usually focused on intelligence gathering and external threats. The Trump administration says that she was here to maintain election integrity. Democrats on the Senate Intelligence Committee say they want more information and are calling for a briefing about Gabbard's presence here as well. So far, her office has not responded. Tony?
Very interesting. Skylar, thank you very much. A former Illinois sheriff's deputy, Sean Grayson, received a maximum sentence today, 20 years in prison for killing Sonia Massey in her home after she had called 911. The case drew national attention back in 2024, and tonight, as Jerika Duncan reports, new reaction now from the Massey family. Jerika?
Good evening, Tony. Grateful, devastated, and elated is what the family of 36-year-old Sonia Massey told me they are feeling tonight. Now, what many people remember about this case is that body camera video from July of 2024. It shows Grayson shooting and killing Massey, a mother of two, in her own home after she called 911 to report a suspected prowler. Holding a pot of what Grayson believed was hot water, some of Massey's final words were, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus." Grayson responded with, "You better effing not. I swear to God, I'll effing shoot you right in your effing face." And he did. Today in court, though, Grayson, who now has cancer, said, "I was very unprofessional that night," and went on to say, "I'm sorry. I wish there was something I could do to bring her back." Massey's 16-year-old daughter, Summer, reacted to Grayson's apology.
I don't think I'm gonna forget him no time soon. I don't think he really care anyway. He just sick and dying. He won't forget it. So, I mean, if he do die, maybe he going to the pearly gates, but I don't think so.
And the defense filed a motion today to reconsider the sentence, but the judge said the sentence that he handed down, quote, was necessary to deter others from acting under the same circumstances. Tony?
Jerika, thank you very much. Back here in New York City, federal officers have arrested a man for allegedly trying to free Luigi Mangione from jail as he awaits trial in the killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Officials say the man, a 36-year-old from Minnesota, posed as an FBI agent and claimed he had a judge's order to release Mangione. In his bag, they say they found weapons, specifically a large barbecue fork and a pizza cutter. Mangione, still very much in jail, has his next court hearing scheduled tomorrow. To Dallas now, where police have arrested two young men for allegedly firing assault-style rifles from a bridge on New Year's Eve. Investigators say they recovered more than 100 shell casings from the scene. You can hear them. No one was hurt in this incident. As for the guns, police say one of them has been linked to a separate incident of road rage. Still ahead on the CBS Evening News, a big update in the trial of a Virginia man accused of arranging a double murder while having an affair with his family's live-in nanny. Now to an unusual murder trial underway in Fairfax County, Virginia. Former IRS Special Agent Brendan Banfield stands accused of staging a double murder to kill his wife and frame a stranger, all while having an affair with his family's live-in nanny. Elaine Quijano is following the case.
Your wife has died.
The day Brendan Banfield was told his wife had been killed, body cam footage captured his reaction at a Virginia hospital.
It's not a survivable injury.
Banfield says in February 2023, he came home to find a man, Joe Ryan, stabbing his wife, Christine. Banfield, an IRS agent at the time, carried a gun. He says he tried to save her life by shooting Ryan.
He was a threat to Christine, and that was the best way to stop his actions.
Prosecutors, though, say Banfield killed her. They argue he devised a plot with his nanny, Juliana Perez Magalhães.
Brendan revealed his desire to get rid of Christine.
Prosecutors allege the pair concocted a catfishing scheme on an adult website and lured Ryan to the Banfield home for what he thought would be a sexual encounter with Christine. Banfield denies that, but admits he and the nanny were having an affair.
I would say that it was a relationship, but it is an affair, but I wouldn't categorize it as serious.
Not serious. Okay. Did you love her?
There was points that I told her that I loved her.
The key witness, the nanny, Perez Magalhães, pled guilty to manslaughter and made a deal with prosecutors to testify against Banfield.
After October, when he first mentioned the plan, at that point was just get rid of Christine.
Banfield says both he and Christine had affairs, but says he still loved his wife.
I think that it's an absurd line of questioning for something that is not serious, that a plan was made to get rid of my wife.
The Banfield's then 4-year-old daughter was in the basement at the time of the murders. Banfield could face life in prison if convicted. Tony?
Wow, Elaine, thank you very much. Up next, why shrinking sea ice is making some polar bears fatter and healthier. Good news for people who hate exercise. A new article published by the journal Nature suggests that you need much less than you may think to improve your health. People doing as little as 15 minutes of vigorous activity a week saw an 18% drop in their risk of death. And in fact, just a few short 2-minute bursts of activity, like taking the stairs or carrying in heavy groceries, could reduce mortality by 38%. Polar bears have long been a symbol of climate change, their health projected to suffer in a world of less ice and fewer chances for bears to hunt seals. But there's a twist tonight in that story. Polar bears in the Norwegian Arctic have actually gotten fatter and healthier, according to a new study, turning away from the shrinking ice to hunt reindeer and walrus on land instead. Experts say the bears are still in trouble long term, but hey, the experts have been wrong before. Up next, Buddhist monks walking thousands of miles in all kinds of weather, why millions of Americans are now following their journey. Stay with us. Only in America tonight, the story of a walk we apparently all needed right now. On October 26th of last year, with zero fanfare, a group of Buddhist monks gathered in Fort Worth, Texas, and started a 2,300-mile walk for peace. Now, 96 days later, they have millions of followers across social media and are closing in on a moment of genuine national stardom. Through 8 states, crowds of thousands have greeted the monks and their dog, Aloka, lining the roads, some people in tears, some people handing out flowers. This little boy handed out lip balm because not even the snow and the ice has stopped this walk. And at the front of the procession, the group's soft-spoken leader. Here's what he sent us today when we asked what he makes of all the attention.
This is something that I have never expected. Somehow, it's just growing each and every day. The crowd is getting larger and larger. And somehow this walk for peace has touched their heart.
The monks are expected to reach Washington, D.C. and visit Congress next month. There's no telling what will come of that meeting of ancient faith and modern bureaucratic government, but the monks believe that peace is in all of us and in every step they take. And by that measure, the walk is already a big success. That's another day in America. For all of us here at CBS News, I'm Tony DeCopel in New York. Thank you very much for being with us. We'll see you again tomorrow. Good night.